You're up. I didn't mean to wake you. Your caretaker was kind enough to let me in. I'm your reader for Friday afternoon. It's a pleasure to meet you. You sure have a beautiful home. I must say, this neoclassical style of architecture is a fitting monument for this country's future. Or is it a monument for your family? The symmetry, bold columns, it's an immovable foundation. A representation of what we hold dear from the past into the present. Do I dare romanticize this country's legacy? It's what the majority of people listen for. No. I'm no patriot. I'm simply making conversation. I believe we haven't met. Maybe you've seen me on campus. Your caretaker informed me that you haven't been feeling well this semester. We both know that's a lie. You're avoiding someone. Is it one of your peers? A professor? Your face says it all. Maybe I can talk to them on your behalf. Are you sure? I can be very persuasive. Now, what will you have me read? Oh, this book? It's a children's book that I'm borrowing from the library. I haven't read it since I was a child. I thought I'd read it out of nostalgia. Interested? Not too many people know of its existence. It is called The Nameless Monster. Are you sure? Of course I'll read it to you. Allow me to get closer so you can see the illustrations. Before we begin, would you care for a whiskey bonbon? They are sweets, no alcohol in them. But I understand. You don't want to spoil your dinner. Okay, ready? Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a nameless monster. The monster was dying to have a name. So the monster made up his mind and set out on a journey to look for one. But the world was such a very large place. The monster split in two and went on separate journeys. One went east, the other headed west. The one who went east came upon a village. There was a blacksmith who lived at the village's entrance. "Mr. Blacksmith, please give me your name," said the monster. "I can't give you my name," replied the blacksmith. "If you give me your name, I'll go inside you and make you strong," said the monster. "Really?" said the blacksmith. "If you make me stronger, I'll give you my name." The monster went into the blacksmith, and so the monster became Otto the blacksmith. Otto was the strongest man in town. But then one day he said, "Look at me, look at me. The monster inside of me is getting bigger. Munch, munch, chomp, chomp, gobble, gobble, gulp." The hungry monster ate up Otto from the inside out. Once again, he was a monster without a name. Next, he went into Hans the shoemaker. However, munch munch, chomp chomp, gobble gobble, gulp. Once again, he went back to being a monster without a name. Then he became Thomas the Hunter, but soon, munch munch, chomp chomp, gobble gobble, gulp. Back he went to being a monster without a name. The monster next went to a castle to look for a nice name. He came upon a very sick boy who lived in that castle. "If you give me your name, I'll make you strong," said the monster. The boy replied, "If you can make me healthy and strong, I will give you my name." So the monster jumped right into the boy, and the boy became full of vigor. The king was overjoyed. He announced, "The prince is healthy. The prince is strong." The monster became quite fond of the boy's name. He was also quite pleased with his royal life in a castle, so he controlled himself no matter how ravenous his appetite became. Day after day, despite his growing hunger, the monster stayed put inside the boy. But finally, the hunger just became too great. Look at me," said the boy. "The monster inside of me has gotten this big." The boy devoured the king and all his servants. Munch munch, chomp chomp, gobble gobble, gulp. The castle was lonely now, with everyone gone. So the boy left on a journey. He walked and walked for days. And then one day, the boy came upon the monster who had gone west. "I have a name," said the boy, "and it's such a wonderful one at that." But the monster who went west replied, "Who needs a name? I'm perfectly happy without one. After all, that's what we are. Nameless monsters." The boy ate up the monster who went west. At last, he found a name, but there was no longer anyone to call him by it. Such a shame, because Johann was such a wonderful name. Well, that concludes our session. I'll be taking my leave now. Come to class next week. I promise you that everything will be fine. Your professor won't bother you anymore. My name? Does it matter? Once you get back to your normal life, this will all be but a dream. You will try to find proof that I ever existed, only to question your sanity, only to come up with the realization that I never existed at all.